All right, there we go. Good morning.
Good
Welcome to the
morning.
30 Day Show. This is day 29. Can you believe that? Day 29 of the 30 Day Show. Tomorrow is the last day of the show. We've been going live every day for 90 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna close this out. Yesterday, I went live from the competition yesterday in Detroit.
Yeah, I tapped in and I saw a little bit of it. It was dope.
Yo, but they got to see like behind the scenes because I was talking to, we was trying to handle stuff. It was like, yo, what's happening? That was funny.
No, people want to see the story. They want to know what's happening. Uh, Everybody has ideas probably about what it takes to do those types of things, and then there's the reality. I think we're in that time now.
I wonder if I close my laptop, if it'll take me off live. I don't know. We'll see. I hit to go live. Kiara, do me a favor. Go to my Instagram and see if you still see me live. And I close my laptop. If not, sorry for all the people on Instagram that's not gonna get to see today's show. But I did go live there. Okay, so it didn't happen. But okay, so the No Kings rally. You spoke at the No Kings rally yesterday.
I spoke at the Remove the Regime No Kings 3.0 rally. What that is, um, specifically, Remove the Regime is part of is the title of their protest from the Removal Coalition. It's an organization of dozens of grassroots, uh, citizenship, uh, voter engagement, civic engagement organizations around the country. And their whole focus was coming together, and they were unique where they use content creators to drive people. So people who are these progressive talkers on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, plus these real organizations drove people. So the first one they did was in the fall, 10,000. This one at No Kings was in Southeast, tens of thousands of people. And then the remove the regime is focused on impeachment and removal of the office of the president. And so it was a few thousand people right on the National Mall. It was amazing.
That sounds amazing. Can you hear my background?
Not really, no.
I got these new Google Buds. We'll talk about that in a second. But that's super dope. Okay, so I got questions for you. I want to talk about what you talked about in your speech, but first, I really want to know what the energy felt like because you know that's thousands of people. I've done probably about 10 or 20,000 at Adams Morgan Day. But I'm curious on like how you felt getting on stage. Like, you've been on those stages before, but was it your first time speaking at a rally?
First time speaking at a rally, definitely on no, first time speaking at a rally at the mall.
Uh,
Mind you, No Kings had happened hours earlier, and then people marched from because that was in a whole nother part of town. It wasn't near like the government buildings, and so it ended, like the coordinated one around, and then there was like, all right, here's this second rally here on the mall. So it was like it was several thousand people out there. It wasn't like the whole mall was full or anything, but still the energy with the stage, like it's a huge stage. It's not like a little podium. It's like a built out stage, big mega screens on either side to project to the mall, big concert level sound system. It's on my Instagram, on my YouTube, places there. So harp, and the speakers were up and down. It wasn't like I'm a murderous row of speakers and names, but they weren't all bad. But no, like it's just a bunch of organizers. So it wasn't like celebrity people. The biggest was like the biggest was like an officer from January 6th, a Capitol Police officer running for Congress. He was the biggest, like, well known person. So
so I'm not. Sorry, y'all. I was go checking my door in the background. Okay, here
so
we go.
that was the energy.
So y'all are getting me in full on travel mode right now. I'm about to get on this plane, and Cam's gonna be taking another show by itself to day 29.
Yes, I'm gonna tell the story for everybody. I'm gonna tell the story for everybody, and then also talk about a few other things that are percolating in my brain about what's going on.
Yeah, lots going on actually. Just considering like so TSA was supposed to be there was some agreement reached. Do you think the Delta flex had anything to do with it?
About TSA.
hmm you saw what happened with
I
that?
saw. I would say no. TSA came down to every company, every like the noise is too loud. It wasn't like a. It's not controlled to individuals. This is affecting everybody, and like, hey, my entire base hates it, and all of my supporters and Republican supporters in government can't really justify it.
Mm. And that's the interesting thing about optics versus reality, because of the timing of it all, it looked like, oh yeah, Delta put the pressure on them. You know what I'm saying? Like we losing money, they put the pressure. Delta losing money, they put the pressure on them. As I'm leaving the Delta Lounge in this moment, but the the way it looked versus what the reality might have been around it is interesting. I think that is that. Because it was like, okay, they made that rule around deciding to not have like special preferences for
Services,
services.
Congress.
Yeah, for Congress. Oh, gotta go this way. Oh no, actually, we gotta go that way. First of all, let me tell you about the Detroit. Oh, look, I might have froze. Did that freeze?
No, you're
Oh,
here,
the Detroit
but it
airport is huge.
yeah, it's one
You
of the
be
biggest
walk,
and busiest.
you be walking
You
for
got to go
days.
underground.
Yeah.
Did you go through the light tunnel
No, I ain't
from
gotta
B
do
to
all
A?
that.
I
Because
like
I'm just
Detroit
going ahead.
Airport. They got
It's
the train,
so
the monorail.
it's a lot.
Don't walk. You got to take the train. For those who are frequent flyers, one of the things that I've been quietly
Oh, there we
documenting,
go.
but one of the things I've been documenting is Cameron, San Diego. Where in the world is Cameron, San Diego? Because I travel
Yeah,
so
I love
much.
that.
So I'm gonna kick it off when I go to Ghana.
I
Like I got
actually
a little
really love.
branding kit.
I really love that actually. Where in the world
That's
is
how I'm gonna
Cameron
do
San
my
Diego?
I'm gonna focus my YouTube on that, and then because I've
You
been
should
like,
get
what is
somebody. Yo, you should get somebody to create a track. Where in the world is Cameron San Diego? You should do
I should.
that.
I should.
That'd be
I
dope.
used to
That'd be
love that
dope.
show. I used to love that
Me
the game
too.
show. They don't have those
Yeah.
that kid game show where they had the big stanchion and they were like, "Where is Kuala Lumpur?" And it's like people would
Right.
never like the if you got like South America, North America, you're like, "Oh, you won." But most of the time they put it in like Southeast Asia,
Right.
around
Right. Right.
Australia, different
And
parts
that
of
was a way of
Africa.
kids learning geography.
It
You know
is.
what I
That's how I
mean? Like,
learned. There were countries
yeah,
like Myanmar is a country. I only know it from Carmen San Diego show because it would always stump so many people. Like those,
yeah,
um,
no, that's real.
even the Northeast, like which one's Norway, Finland, Sweden, Switzerland, like figuring those out, like all those things that those shows were good. Do kids
51.
have that these days?
51. No, they do not. But what they do have, I do think like National Geographic and Discovery is way more entertaining than it was, I think, when we were growing up. If there was even a freaking Discovery, but in the same way it is now. So like my daughter does watch like all these National Geographic shows about animals, which is interesting. And I think she ends up learning geography through the animals. Like, oh, this animal is
It's
from
from this country,
whatever.
this
Yeah,
region.
yeah. Which is kind of interesting because that's not, I don't know, I wouldn't have thought that. But but yeah. So anyway, I forgot what we were talking about. Oh, you traveling.
Yeah,
She don't know
I
that
should
she
have been
about to
doing
get
it
on
the
the
last
truck.
2 years as I was traveling, but
I think it's a dope idea though. either way.
Just turn on a new hat whenever I'm getting on the airplane. I did 83 flights, 171 days last year in a hotel. So
You
I
can
think
also repurpose where like repurpose your content from your only fly Jordan.
exactly. That's where they it's those two ideas. It's like I should do formalize this to something because it's not off brand. And if anything, it's like, oh, he's always doing international business.
When you got it, well,
I mean,
I
he's
mean, I
always
don't
doing
know.
business. I am always doing business. It's not like to your point about repurposing. I think, and this is to so many people, everybody in this challenging market is now looking for the pivot. Is they're looking for the additional layer. I think we've reorganized almost as a society at every level our brain of like we wanting more fame or what fame looks like. You know what I mean? Being on a phone. Oh hi.
The Skyline, say hi.
Um,
Yeah, no, I think that's right.
and so now people are looking for that, but I think they underestimate what it takes. There's so many even more content creators or people who have their little series, but they have a job and they're hoping to find success online, or maybe there's just an expression, or it's not something somebody's taking seriously, but they're taking their Instagram, their TikTok, like I'm curating my outward experience. And I think navigating people shouldn't steer too far from either a who they are or literally what they're selling, and be hyper clear and disciplined about that, and being hyper clear about what I'm selling as the digital director and a ultimate connector communicator, both in community and politics and in business and organizational leads. And I was like, well, but I want to have fun with it too. That's always been natural. So I was like, Cameron San Diego could be fun. It doesn't make me look unserious, but it just allows me to continue to serialize the content I would already be putting out.
And there's a group of people who have to travel for work. Like I was just talking to this guy in the lounge, and because we were just talking about, I think too that's so. I mean, listen, travel influence is such a huge thing, but I think travel influence for business is a lane that you don't see a lot of people in because either they're doing things that they can't talk about their business, or maybe they're just speakers. And I feel like you have a different angle with what you're doing because you might be speaking, but like you're also like teaching, directing, consulting. Like it's like somebody having to show up. Because then people also don't realize sometimes like just the power of like you gotta show up. Like it makes so much sense for you to be at the NAACP Image Awards. It makes so much sense for you to be at the conference for whatever the whatever is. Conferences that people some stuff you be mentioning to me that's conferences I'd be like, wait, what? You be like, yeah, I was at the gathering for all Democrats that wear blue. And I'm like, wait, what? That's a gathering? And you be like, yeah, every year. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I think I think, you know what I find fascinating sometimes about the things that you're telling me that you're attending is that the view of what's happening in politics and where those things are being talked about. I don't know that people understand how many places those things are being talked about. And over the course of the entire year, you just see these big moments of, oh, it's an election now. But like, yeah, like it was like 100 conversations that happened on the way to that election. You know what I mean? So I also think there's some power in that too with the travel that you're doing.
No, I think it's the thing it's the thing I've been fighting back and forth internally of like turning a spotlight inward. But the thing that you find fascinating, or the things people find fascinating, it is me doing that, but it's more me as your eyes and ears in a place, and I being a contributor. But so I'm not there because I'm good online or I have a social following. I'm there to serve a purpose. But I also most people serving purposes are heads down people. Very few are like, unless and I haven't been selling the thing I sell, the way I've made money. up until recently and expanding on this has not been my presence speaking and training. Like I'm there because I working on a project. We're doing the paid media, we're doing the advertising, we're doing the data, we're doing the general consulting, the comms consulting. Oh, he's just a smart person to have in the room because he has this experience and knowledge. Bring him in when we're building strategy, attending panelists, talk to all of that stuff. And you're weaving all that in one. And then there's the social business side of always, there's always a dinner, there's always a happy hour, maybe throwing a little small party, always going to an event, being invited, having the fun, still building relationship there. All those things are a function of still doing the work, as opposed to, people can blow up their brand and now people want you as a speaker because you're a big content creator or you do something big brand wise. I'm trying to reverse engineer into that. It's like, oh, create that as leverage point too, and really service people those ideas. But then I can't get away from, I have to keep doing the work. The work is what gets me into the room, and first and foremost. The work or the reputation of the work. So it's like every time so that's why I've always wrestled with the back and forth of, do I also now center, like, turn this spotlight inward and try to showcase this in a different way, but I don't want it to jeopardize the work. Omi's out here traveling. This is highly unique. All right, are you about to? You look like you about to get on the flight.
No, I got like maybe 15 minutes. No, my daughter was asking me. So at Clear, they gave out these little coloring books, which I thought was kind of cool actually, because they must notice that they have a lot of kids coming through. But they
Oh
gave out
yeah,
these little.
there's a I don't know what, I think it's in Terminal B, but there's at least two different like kids really big playground situations, like jungle gym situations in Detroit Airport.
So maybe that's why they're doing it here, because I never seen them do it anywhere else. But my daughter, they have these 12 cities 12 clear cities puzzles. So she was asking me about all the cities she's been to. I think the only one on here, we haven't been to Seattle. She hasn't been to Miami, but the rest of them we have: Detroit, Houston, Atlanta, New York, Chicago, Boston, Denver. She's been to all those, but we haven't been to, well, Denver, she's only been like through the airport, but we haven't been to Seattle, or she hasn't been to Miami. So yeah, anyway, that's why. When you're a mom, let me tell you something. When you're a mom, you're always
Hmm.
doing more than one thing. It's just like, and this is where people, and don't get me wrong, like this is where there's a divide between like black parenting and white parenting. It's like what I just did is like, this is what we did. We talking. I'm gonna handle my kid. I'm gonna talk to you, and it feels no way to me. I don't feel any way. I heard everything you said. You know what I mean? And I can come back and be talking to you, and I can be like, yes to her, no to her, talk to you. It's fine. You know what I mean? But my white friends are not like that. My white
They
friends,
can't.
they be like, oh, I'm gonna call you after I put the baby down. I'm like, girl, I
It's
don't
like,
care about that.
no, I'm putting the baby down as I talk to you.
Girl, let that baby talk. I don't even hear that baby. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. It's like I don't even hear this kid making noise because I'm just so used to it that it's not even phasing me that this kid is making noise right now. You know what I mean? Like, I think so. And I actually talked to my boyfriends about this, so I feel comfortable saying this publicly. I posted it in my Insta story too. Because and plus, like, it's different too with them. They always like to schedule time to talk. And they be like, oh, but are you free next Friday? Girl, call me tomorrow. Like, what are we talking about? Why are we waiting till next Friday? Call me after you finish eating dinner. Like, what? Like, call me on your way to work. Like, I don't, why we need a schedule? You know what I mean? Like, it's different. It's real different. And one of my friends, she was saying that she's like, it's so crazy. She said it because she's like, that is how we do it. She's like, that is how we do it. Like I do that with everybody. And she's like, or I'm just not talking to people at all. She's like, really, I'm not talking to people at all for the most part. And with the people that I want to talk to, it's like scheduling out time to really make sure you can be present. I honor that too. But there's always like I'm doing more than one thing all the time in my life. It's just regular. You know what I mean? It feels real normal. But some dudes. So this is also when you talk about their dating. If the dude gets like has an adverse reaction to that, we can't date. Like if I'm talking to him and then Skylar asks me something and I'm like, yeah, we'll just put it over there. And then he'd be like, oh well, you know, I'm gonna let you go because I'm like, bro, we'll go and don't call me back. Like go and don't come back. You know what I mean? Or like, oh you busy? No, I'm on the phone. I answer the phone. If I answer the phone, you good. If I was busy, I would not answer the phone, and we would not be talking right now. But so I've also that's one thing I prefer to date dudes that have kids. They understand like some levels
No,
of
you guys are in a
unselfish.
different. You guys are in a different tribe, and yeah, you have a different. You're of a different tribe.
That's right.
Um, I uh, I get it, and I think as a man who's had to, I haven't dated a lot of women with children, but obviously you do. You've gone on dates, and more. I see it through the eyes of my friends because I do have plenty of single mothers who are just my platonic friends, professional friends, and you see it that just becomes more and more of a thing in our generation. Obviously, would and so it's a different muscle. It's a different muscle. I
Yeah,
don't
cause
I marvel at the patience of my brother-in-law and my sister, and then I look
mm,
at my younger brother, us both not having children as adults in our late 30s, early 40s. It is I don't get it. But I guess I guess that's part of the DNA thing. There's the human connection that but I marvel at that. I think there is good parents. To me, good parents often show up as like great leadership workers. Good parents, like
mm,
good parenting. If you can keep your parents in your household, I mean, that's obviously not a one-to-one correlation, but I think things that force you to manage your time can elicit some of the best time management, clear focus. Like you have limited ability to engage. So when I engage, I lock in. I love the people who do that. Like good parents, being good parents and good spouses can help build that soft skill that is not like, I mean, I don't think it's learned. But I also don't think it's exclusive to having to be in a relationship, like being married or having to have children to have those. But I've noticed that over the years.
depending on your personality type, I do think 35 to 45, 47 is the best age to have kids. You might not, I don't know, because it's like you're more settled into like who you are. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that like some people who are like now 45 who didn't have kids early are like, dang, like it's too late for me, like women from a biological standpoint, like it's too late for me or whatever. And I would say I don't think so, but it's interesting because now I'm like I'm a whole different parent. My life is totally different than with my older kids, and I'm settled into myself more. So I don't
Mhm.
know that settled into yourself piece is something that does happen with age, but also happens with like evolution. Like if you're the kind of person that self reflects and evolves, and not everybody is that. So there's that. But speaking of okay, so people speaking of self reflection, evolving, and things like that, I want to talk about. I was talking to you a little about this before we came on air about like beliefs, religious beliefs, and how that showed up a lot in yesterday's competition. Probably
Mhm.
more than I've ever seen in any pitch competition that we've had. A lot of like mentioning, you know, Jesus or God or whatever, and it wasn't a faith-based business. It was just inside of the 60 seconds. They decided to use some of the 60 seconds for that. Now here's what I want to make sure I'm real clear about this. There's nothing wrong with your belief. Uh-oh. What Kiara must be trying to send you a message. Kiara, what happened? Somebody in her waiting room?
No, something wrong with my Wi-Fi, but I'm back.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, so you can go, you can remove yourself from stage though. Now that you're here, I think you can do it. Does it go down? Does it go down? That's not the right question. It does go down. So Kier, you can remove yourself from the stage and still be here. It must get, you know what? It be, listen, StreamYard be tripping. That's one thing we did learn because I feel like every show Cam gets kicked out at least once. It's happened every time.
Yeah, I'm trying to remove myself. Sorry.
Yeah, you fine. But yeah, I'm telling you, StreamYard be acting up. Dang, I was about to say something. Oh, it showed up a lot yesterday
But
in
you
the
you said
picture.
you had a question for me, maybe specifically, because
Oh,
I understand why it does, but I'm also interested. Yeah.
oh, got it. What I was saying was, I'm not saying that anybody shouldn't believe whatever they believe, right? But I'm curious from your standpoint, digital director wise, because the business that we did business with last night we held a private dinner. There was things about it experience that I didn't like, and I'm not going to name them because, like I said, I'm all about supporting small business. It's not about like tearing them apart at all. I did not
Mhm.
have the most pleasant experience for multiple reasons, but one of the things that happened in the line along of what I'm talking about is it was a chef experience. The chef came out and was like, being real cool and down to earth and like, great personality.
Was that a
But
restaurant or he's
it
a
was
private chef?
it was a woman,
Oh,
and
she was.
it was supposed to be like a chef experience. To be honest, I think there's a difference between a chef and a cook. And to me, this was a great cooking experience. And not, I can't, no tea, no shade to her training. I don't know where she got trained. And I'm not trying to tear her down. That's why I'm not going to mention the name of the company or anything like that. But I don't know if it was the best chef experience. And that's because I've had chef experiences. I had a chef, you know what I mean?
I
So, like,
would
I
say
think
chef
my
is
bar,
plating. Chef is like plating, pairing,
cl-
ingredient level,
cleanliness,
cleanliness, presentation. That's the
pre-
chef experience. Cook
that's the chef
experience is
experience.
good food, still like hospitable, but the plating may be as important, or like the service aspect of it and so forth. Chef, that's at
That
least
part, the service, that's
been
what was
at
not as
private
important.
events and stuff. The service part, like good cooking experiences, and like, hey, I'm
Mhm.
cooking and I'm doing something, but it's more of the meal. Then there's the chef of ingredients, preparation, plating,
Right.
pairing,
And like how to
service.
treat who you're, and a lot of times chefs don't want to be seen. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
chefs are not people that are
They're gonna
like,
come out for
look
their
at me.
like
That's
chefs are
it.
like conductors. Chefs are like conductors.
Yes.
My back is to you, you don't see me. I do the bow at the end or after main set.
That's it.
And so a chef may
I'm gonna
come
tell you
out,
what's on this
take
plate and I'm out.
plate,
Like
I'm
they're not
out. Or
entertainers.
I'm gonna come,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna come maybe. I've been to a chef experience where like 2/3, basically after all the entrees pre-dessert, they come out and then sit with us and sit with like I went to one it was actually in DC, and I've been to one like this in New York where it's 12, 14 people max. The one in DC was like 8, but after 4 courses or 4 or 5 courses, he came out, talked more about himself, experience and stuff like that, what he was doing, and then he's like, "Great, I'm gonna get you your dessert and like our artesian like coffee and
Right.
so
Exactly.
it was
So,
that. So he did talk a lot. All the other ones come in this, thank you, bow, maybe take a question or two, back to the kitchen.
but ultimately, what happened was she came out at the very beginning and was like, yes, the experience y'all gonna get. Woo, 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 woo. Thank you, Jesus. And, in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, whoa, but okay, you know what I mean? Yay, girl. Amen. But then I think, so then later in the night, one of the people that were with us was like, can I pray over the food? And I said to her, hey, I want to be respectful. I don't know everybody's beliefs here. So if your prayer is like, in Jesus' name or, representing other deities that don't relate to the room, I want to be respectful. So what I told her is you can have a moment of gratitude. Like feel free to do a moment of gratitude. I'll give you the floor for that. But I don't want to be mindful of like we want to respect everybody's beliefs. Somebody here
So
might not
so
believe in anything.
let me talk to you as like I said, I'm
How you
Christian,
doing?
strong faith man,
Sorry.
coming
Oh,
there.
I love that. I was just recognized in the airport.
Oh.
Some guy he was like, hey, Omi. Hey, man, shout out to Detroit. I love y'all. Okay, go ahead.
um
Look at that. I had my little famous moment. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, because I gotta get ready to get on this plane.
I would say this: when as a Christian, you're always taught to share the name of Jesus, share your religion,
One of
be
our guests
front
is here.
face
I
of
just want to know
front
that.
face. What?
One of our guests is here.
Okay. Oh, I see you. Akua will be in 1 second. So I understand, and depending on the religious discipline of like the type of church environment, piece of person, there are people who've overcome stuff. So they'll inject it because that's just so close to who they are. And it doesn't, and the other side is like me professing my religion should not make you uncomfortable. And if it does, there's not only within right, it feels traditional to be okay to, I'm not saying convert to Jesus, but I am
But if you
expressing
praying
in
over
real
the
time.
food and you say in Jesus' name, you blessing my food under the guise of who you think is blessing my food. And I'm like, yeah, like I might not agree with that, right? So
I
like
think
if
we
I
I think we have evolved from a cultural place where we're still trying to figure out as all of those, because coming from that discipline and more even more so that personality of being with folks who are going to inject that, everyone has a different sensibility of it because in their mind it's not that I'm projecting on you, even though that is in theory that is what is happening. They're just seeing it as a deep thinking profession and something that is serious and a tenet of their religion to do it. And now that
I get that, but if you're
we've
praying
been
over
in that
all of
space
our
for so,
food,
I know we've been in that space where it
okay.
was so acceptable for so long. There's now the shift of like understanding the same way. It's not the same, but I liken it to as we become more an open society around sexuality, around so many different things. There are things that people are doing, maybe not realizing we've come to a new level of consciousness and civilization there. And paired with the I don't care, not because I'm trying to disrespect you. This is so integral to me as my religious, and I'm not viewing it the same way. And so I think there is still, and then there's just different traditions. You go deep south, you go different regional traditions. I'll take this out of the black church. I've definitely been some places where it's like
Okay, keep talking
it's
because I'm about
it's
to scan my boarding pass.
no,
I'm
it's
not gonna.
heavy. Like it's heavy religious overtones into everything in normal business and in politics in a lot of pockets that has nothing to do with it being African Americans or any of things of that nature. Like it's just the right Christian is always going to let you know Jesus is definitely front and center. And I think we're just as a society coming to an understanding of what does that mean to be actually inclusive in our everyday, because the pushback has already happened. Think about
But that's
laws
the
that have happened.
word. I think real
Think about
quick
the
because I'm
laws
about to
in
go out.
Texas. The laws in Texas, they've now put up the 10 commandments and forced that into every classroom. They're doing things, the push and pull of we're in a Judeo-Christian society in America. At least that's those founding tenets were spread throughout so much of society. We're now uncoupling and what does it truly mean to be an inclusive and open society at every aspect for people of all religious or absence of religious beliefs, and we still can respect and so forth. I think everybody's grappling with that, and depending on what part of the country and tradition you come from, it's not even injected into your everyday person, like your everyday because of where we are and what we've grown from. So I think we're still in that transition phase.
Inclusion. That word was the key. Um, inclusion. Like, because even like I spoke to a woman that's the head of one of the greater like boys and girls clubs, and she said it's even got to the struggle of saying boys and girls. All right, I'm like, I never thought that even would be a thing. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about inclusion, or we talk about it as a broader principle, I also think, not sure if everybody's understanding what that really means. And then people say, "Oh, I'm inclusive," but I'm not going to care about how I talk about whatever religious deity in front of you. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, like so, it's kind of like, what are we mirroring to? But anyway, I digress because I'm getting on this plane. I gotta get ready to go.
All
That's
right. Can
definitely
we
a
bring
valid
up our first
conversation too.
guest? Thank you, Omi. Safe travels to the
All right,
entire 30
y'all.
day
30
crew.
day show.
We would
Yes.
30-day show crew, our 30
Hello,
dayers.
Clear.
Hello.
All right.
Safe
Have a good show.
travels.
Thank you.
You never know what you're gonna get on the 30-day show. Bye, Omi.
How do I leave? I can't hit end because it's in the show. Okay, hold on. Let me see.
I think, can you take her down off stage? Yep, there it is. Is it Akua Tay?
Aquia, yes.
Aquia. I'm sorry, Aquia Tay. Hi, how are you doing, Aquia?
I'm
Nice to
good.
meet you.
How are you? Nice to meet you too.
Sorry, you never know what you're gonna get on the 30-day show.
It's all good.
We this has been a labor of love and a labor of experiment and connection. And I had my first 30-day. Someone's like, "Yo, I'm watching you on this thing on LinkedIn," and I was like, "For real?" You just never know. And this wasn't even in DC. This was up in Baltimore. But Aquia, tell me more about your business and why you are here.
Nice. Well, thank you. And congratulations on 29 out of 30 days. It's dope.
29. Yes, we're almost there.
For sure. Well, again, I'm Aquia. I am based here in Washington, D.C. I'm the founder of Connected to Culture. We are a nonprofit based in Ward 8. Our mission is to connect people with culture using technology. And the culture we're connecting them with is all 54 that exist within the African continent and the diaspora. And so we have we have a number of ways that we do it, but it's mostly cultural exchange.
Where are your roots? Your African roots?
So my parents were immigrants from Ghana, West Africa. So I'm a first generation American.
Okay. So talk to me. I'm going to Ghana in 3 weeks.
Oh, nice.
First time ever touching the continent, first time ever touching the country. First time ever, this is not my first time doing international speaking, but first time speaking on the continent, and doing a training out there. And I just had one of my oldest political friends. We came up together on Capitol Hill. She's Ghanaian and now splits her time between. Is it Accra? How do we I feel like in America we say it different than it's Accra.
Yes.
Yes, she's out near Accra, where I'll be, and I'm excited. Tell me how you're doing the cultural exchange, because especially if you're doing it through technology, this might be divine intervention, because I'm trying to find ways to connect. When I go there, the whole idea is that this is how we move here, and this is how they in Ghana both around the business they're doing and how they're doing more and more marketing are able to make real connections. I'm curious how you from America are connecting people back there.
Well, one, you picked the best place to go to for your first interaction with the continent. So yeah, we do that through a number of ways. So when I started the organization, it was 2020. It was right in the midst of COVID. Nobody was going anywhere. So that is why we used, and that's why technology is so important in terms of cultural exchange. We do it through group meetings. We do that through music and DJ training and exploration of different music, using the art of DJing. We do food experiences. So there are a number of ways that we connect people. And our goal was to connect people here in the United States with the continent, and not making sure that not being able to travel wasn't a barrier to cultural exploration. So a lot of times, so in terms of food, one of the things that we're doing now is food is one of the pillars of culture that that we want to help people explore. So we have food kits. We have different meal prep kits called culture kits, and they have recipes that are from everywhere in the continent. And so you are able to go on our website, you can order those, you can be a part of the subscription service, and you get a different meal from a different place in the continent. You get instructions on how to make it, you get the items to make it, and that's how we do it. And you're able, and you don't have to go, you can just go online.
Do you pick it, or are you as your organization curating that experience for people, or people like can go through and pick what they want, what they don't want? Because that sounds cool to like be able to, I'm gonna get a Nigerian meal today, I'm gonna get a Congolese meal today, I'm gonna get Egyptian meal, I'm gonna get a Ghanaian meal, I'm gonna get this region of Ghana or something like that.
Exactly. So yeah, we do curate these boxes, but we do it in partnerships with food influencers, chefs, and people who are on the continent too. And so our organization, we have members that are from South Africa, from Kenya, from all over the continent. So we have so our organization curates these with people that are on the continent and off the continent, but from those places.
Very cool. How long has your organization been around?
So since 2020, so we're coming up on 6 years in June.
So how'd you start that you started it in pandemic, or were you one of the lucky ones to start right before everything?
Nope. Right in the middle. So I think, the country went into lockdown in March, and that is when we started ideating and coming together and thinking about it, and we were formally incorporated by June. So we did it right in the midst of COVID.
But that probably helped. Did that help you like spawn innovation with the technology and with like, hey, how do we make this an online experience? Like you said, not being able to travel should not be, you wanted to remove that barrier of cultural exploration just because I don't have enough money or time to be able to travel. So in finding other ways, is that what was like the impetus of kicking it off?
You got it. So it was that being in that climate, being in that environment. And also, so prior to that, in December 2019 was the year of return, where they had that big campaign to have Black people and people of the diaspora come back to Ghana, commemorate the 400th year anniversary of the first slave ship leaving the coast. And so that I was there for that, and it was a transformative experience for me as well. So it was also building upon that. So that happened, then COVID, and it was like, no, we're building real momentum there and really trying to make sure that continues. And that is what actually sparked that innovation. So not only being in the midst of a pandemic, but also having that experience, opening up the continent and Ghana to the world for exploration.
Very cool. I'm a DC. I'm not a native, but I've lived here longer than anywhere else. So I would love to tap in. Something I'm curious. I'm curious as a Ward 8, how this is a little off your business, but being here is, we're in election season. We're about to go into. Are you feeling the sense of, because there's so much jockeying in the Democratic Party, obviously DC, we are a unique city. We are not a state. We're a territory. We're so powerful, so much international exposure, so many different opportunities, so much money is here, so much influence is in this region. But obviously Ward 8, for those who don't know DC, is traditionally like like a better term, the hood. That's where Black folks have been for a long time, and is under resourced and underinvested in until now. Now Pieces of War, they like, because DC's so small, they've had to put the money everywhere. And I think in this election cycle, we're getting inundated, and a lot of other people, and a lot of wherever you're listening or watching this from, you're starting to go into that primary season. That's then going to lead into another major election when everything's going on. Do you feel it? Do you feel people jockeying? Like, are you seeing the flyers? Are people knocking on your doors? Are people trying to connect with your own business? Like, do you feel the campaigning of people?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's not only are you seeing it, you're feeling it. You're going out in the streets, you're driving up MLK, and you're seeing posters for every candidate. It is, and it's a wild time, and it is definitely, like you said, a unique time where we have so many positions that are open, from mayoral to congressional to council. So it is a wild time, to say the least.
Good. Well, I wanted to. Where can people learn more about your organization?
Oh, online. We are at connectedtoculture.org. That is our website. We encourage folks to sign up for our newsletter, where we are highlighting everything and every place that we'll be in the DMV and all over the world sometimes. Also, hit us up on social media. We are on Instagram at connectedtoculture.org. We have a presence on TikTok that we're growing, and some other places, but we're mainly on Instagram.
Good. And LinkedIn. You should be on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That too. That's one of the places.
Heavy on LinkedIn. That's where all the donors are.
Yeah, for sure. You're absolutely right.
And how do you? Something that was really, before we go, the last thing, this subscription model. So is that a key revenue driver? Because that's, I think that's very interesting. You don't hear too many nonprofits finding a subscription. Most, if it is, it's like, hey, give us $5 a month and let's be on your regular giving. But you're offering a service and a product for subscription that is also in line, like I said, with what your business is doing. But is that like a donation revenue driver of like how you're generating?
It is. So, we primarily up till date have been funded through grants and a lot of philanthropic and we entities, but we want to become independent and self-reliant. And so our subscriptions are important. It's a way to our independence, and it is definitely going to be a huge revenue driver for us to be able to be sustainable and go, when philanthropy doesn't really make the bills, pay all the bills sometimes. So yes, it's an important driver for us. But like you said, not only just for sustainability, but for our mission. It is our mission to connect people. And so we use this model as a way to not only keep us sustain us, but to also push our mission forward.
Very cool. Well, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Yes,
thank you for joining me.
On.
Good luck. I'm gonna check with. Yes, I will definitely do that. I'm following you right now. Connected to Culture. I love the website. Okay. Awesome. And you have a market launching soon?
Yes. So
talked about that and trips back to the motherland.
Oh, yes. But the market, I'll start with the market because that is sooner than later. So this summer, we are launching a farmer's market here east of the river. There aren't many farmers markets that you see on our side of town. Speaking to your point about investment into this community. So we are investing directly into our community by hosting markets, having fresh foods and whole foods available for our community. That will start in June. We're launching that in June, but right now we're working to talk to the community. We're doing listening sessions first, but our goal is to bring these culture kits live and direct to the community, have them see it, do demonstrations on how to prepare the foods and other things. And we're listening to the community leading up to that in June. So please, folks, sign up, come to our listening sessions, tell us what you want to see in these markets, but it's a way to build community and to also promote the services that we do. So we're excited about the market. And yes, we do plan trips to the continent. We work with partners, and not only from 2 to 92, we have experiences for youth, we have experiences for young adults, retirees. And so we have curated experiences. We work with partners who curate trips to the continent. And so we'll have some of those launching very soon.
Very cool. All right. Well, make sure you all tapped into Connected to the Culture. Aquia Tay.
Yes, that's right.
Tay, thank you. Thanks for the time.
Thank
And good
you.
luck. And have a wonderful day.
You too. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. All right. Wow. The show is mine. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome. Thank you, everybody. Kuyate, that was really cool. Connected to the culture. It's ironic as I sit here, and it hasn't hit me the personal impact yet of really what it's going to mean to go back to the motherland, go back to Ghana, go back with purpose. I travel so much, you can almost get numb to some of the places you go, even the coolest ones. Like, I had some extra free time in London. I wish I had another week. I never stopped. I've been in the London airport a few times and never stopped and explored, and got to explore some of it. And I was just me and our team, we've been talking about and building out the itinerary for Ghana. And it's like, oh, this is a working trip. And I'm only there due to the extended travel. I'm really only there on the ground 6 days, 5.5, 6 days, with a day on travel each side. But knowing people are trying to connect these cultural immersion experiences and through technology and through other ways is really important. But I'm curious. I'm making this public outreach also to the 30-day family. If you have any connections in Ghana, especially in Accra, but in Ghana as well, so many other countries, I've learned this. When the relationships you walk into another country, this is not just Africa, this is anywhere. Relationships you walk into other countries, just like if you walk into other cities, other states, other places, the people you come in with to understand the landscape, who you should and shouldn't be going with, but especially when it's so enriched in their culture, relationship, and who you're aligned with, who you know. I'm glad to know a couple really, really good people. Like I said, I've got a solid homegirl and her husband who are well positioned. First thing she said, hey, we're gonna make sure your travel from the airport to the hotel and all those things are connected. So shout out to her. Shout out to everybody that's going to be there. I'm curious, but I'm always also looking for recommendations there. So I wanted to use our time today before we have our next guest, who's going to be coming up in Countess Harris in a little bit, I believe. Am I right, Kyra? Kiara, are you hearing me? Oh, we got the off mic producer. I wanted to talk about this No Kings protest that happened yesterday. I don't know what your algorithm is like there, but there were rallies across the United States on No Kings. And it took place in multiple iterations in multiple cities. If you look up the hashtag, I'm pretty sure you can find it all over social media. Large, massive crowds. And so to be, just like I said, a small, tiny screw in that larger machine and be able to present and give. When I say it was one of the most nerve-wracking experiences of my life, it deeply was, but it also energized me in such a unique way. For those who realize you have to meet a moment, because and I think this applies to whether it's the pitch competitions, whether it's speaking at a church, whether it's speaking in front of a crowd, whether it's presenting, or whether it's something like this in a rally. People looking back at you and hanging on to your words and so much, not just judgment, but so much intense and need for that energy exchange, and they're really looking at you. But being elevated at a rally where people are trying to be motivated around a cause, when I say it hits you like a brick, some people go up there and that's their God-given ability, or that's something they train and really work at, and they have different techniques. Oh, I'm looking at everybody in their underwear, so I don't get distracted, or I focus in on one point out here and just speak to that one person. Sometimes I move around my focus and things of that nature. Like different people have so many tactics on public speaking, and public speaking is one of the largest fears of so many people. I think and that's probably growing given how much we continue to move to just our phones and be an insulated society. But I've had fear of public speaking, but it's something I overcame early. Like being the oldest son of a pastor of a church, you get thrown up on stage in front of the congregation so many times that it was innate. So I know how to go up there and do it. You know how to read the crowd. I love watching speeches. I love watching sermons. I love watching presentations. So you learn a little bit more about it. In some of the cadences, some of the things, to the do's and the don'ts, but it was still heart-poundingly nervous energy, but we got through it. It's online. You can check it out. It's all on social. I think when she started introducing me and you're just like hearing, and there's claps because everybody's like, all right, who's the next speaker? Who's the next person to pump us up? Being at a rally is very different than giving a presentation or even giving a talk or a training. Comedy, it's like people are there to feel something immediately, and they want to reflect it, and they want to have loud energy. So it was interesting. It not just interesting, it was exhilarating. It was nerve-wracking. There was so much there that I had to be able to deliver, that I'm glad I got through it. That's first and foremost. I'm just glad I got through it. I wish I'm curious if in the comments or anybody went to one of the rallies or something, what they saw and what was there. The next thing that I was really thinking about on this 30-day show, we're going into a really unique time. We're going into a really unique time that I'm noticing is overlapping. We're in March Madness. The NBA playoffs are about to start for people who are basketball fans. But it also is overlapping into like people with children. All right. LaToya Stirrup is here. Sure. People with children are also, I'm noticing more and more are seeing if their kids are perhaps going to college. They are more and more focused on, like I said, more and more focused on, did my kid get in? Can I get money? I've had so many conversations with people who are looking for scholarship help at this, like in these last few weeks. And I'm more curious to people who do have kids in college or kids are preparing to go to college. How are you planning for this other than maybe we're just saving some money? Like this entire process, having to travel if you want to visit, whatever the application, like the application costs and fees, the disappointment and the psychological like support of your child as they go through the process of choosing and things. Like I would love to hear more about that. Like I'm having more and more of those conversations. And it's like that feels like not only a job, but like a spiritual job. Like this is something I had to do for my kids. I'm curious to like, for those parents who are going through that period now, how are you navigating it in these times? All right. Before we get to that and hear from it, we have a next guest. Can you bring our next guest to the stage, please? We have LaToya Stirrup. All right, LaToya, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, a little bit closer to your mic.
Amazing.
Good.
You
But
hear
I
me
love
now?
you. You're well framed. Love the
Perfect.
colors. Love the background, the hat. How are you doing, LaToya?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Holding down the 30-day show by myself.
There you
For the
go.
last half hour. The last half hour.
Got it.
Omi didn't trust me. She was like, I'm gonna do it through the airport, then you got it. No, I'm just kidding. But I've done it before. So LaToya, tell us about tell us about you. Where are you coming to us from?
Yeah, I'm coming to you from Miami, Florida. It's raining outside, so let me know if you hear a little interference. But yeah, I'm coming to you from Miami, Florida. So super excited to be here. Sad that I missed Omi on the show.
No, just as good because I want to talk about your new book.
I know Omi from Black Girl Ventures and stuff like that. So
So BG, what was your connection? What was your first connection to Black Girl Ventures BGV? Because so many people that spawned that network, and I'm seeing just even through the guests that we've had who have gone on or thriving businesses, may have pivoted into something else, nonprofits or dope products that I want to, like I said, I want to talk about your book and your business. How did you tap into BGV?
So I was one of the city team leads for Miami. So when Omi and the team were looking to spread Black Girl Ventures out to different cities, they chose Miami as one of the cities, and there were 5 of us. So my journey with Black Girl Ventures started in 2018. So right before COVID, everything that was happening, there was 5 of us who were developing Black Girl Ventures in Miami.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It goes back. So is that the business you're still in, the business that you started there?
No. So
So what's the business you're in?
Yeah. So the business that I have is Cosmology. It's a company that I started with my 2 sisters to create innovative hair tools and accessories that make detangling easier. So when I was starting the business, we launched it in 2019. So Omi was very much in the beginning of it with us. She saw like some of our preliminary decks and everything like that. But our hair tools we're in Walmart, we're in CVS.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we're also launching international right now. We're working with some international distributors. So it's a lot that's happening right now on the brand side. But what I actually submitted for to be on the show was about the book. So my sisters and I are writing a book called Built Together that talks about running and starting a family-owned business and what that looks like. Because one of the things that we hear all the time is like, oh my God, I could never work with my siblings. Like family-owned business. What? Who does?
Or working with your family, it's always you hear mixed results, but the main thing is always like money and blood don't mix.
I disagree.
No, I know. I'm glad you
Yeah.
seem to be debunking that. What was the name of the business?
So the name of the brand is Cosmology. It's K-A-Z.
Cosmology is the brand. I thought it was like, isn't Cosmology also the study of? Okay, here. That's what I thought you were saying. I'm studying cosmology. I didn't realize.
No, that's cosmetology. So that's something different. Cosmology is the study of origin, creation, all the things.
No, okay. Is it uniquely spelled, the business? Like, do you use K or like?
We spell it phonetically. So because we wanted, with the brand name, we wanted something that evoked creation, creativity, and it allowed us room to not just be pigeonholed as a hair care brand. So we're beginning to grow out of that. So we're beginning to get into other accessories and things like that to really kind of bring in this lifestyle that allows you to really kind of create your own rituals and your own moments of self-care. So we're super excited for that too.
In the book,
yes.
Were you always, or you and your sisters always just taking notes? How did the book form?
Yeah, the book formed because we just felt like, well, especially right now, right? 2025 was a very tough year for a lot of businesses. You know, DEI rollbacks, a lot of people lost their jobs. There was a lot that was happening.
Were the tariffs also bad for your business? Because it seems like getting those kind of products you probably source from around the world.
Exactly. Yeah. For us, luckily we had inventory here, so we weren't necessarily hit with the tariffs when a lot of that was going on. More of it was just around the DEI initiatives and how some of those things were being pulled back, because that was a lot of how brands got on shelf at some of the big retailers. So a lot of that was there was just a lot of tension and turmoil last year. So we just wanted to really kind of talk about family-owned business, because right now, looking at everything that's happening, family and community are super important. So if you don't have that structure, you don't have that support, when you talk about how the world is changing, you need to have people around you who you trust, who you can build with, because you need to begin to develop those things for your future, right? If you have kids, don't have kids, whatever that may look like. And a family-owned business can be key to that, because you're now talking about building legacy. And that's some of the things that we talk about in the book, because we grew up in a family-owned business. Our great-grandfather, E.W. Franklin Stirrup, he was in real estate here in Miami. He helped to build one of the founding neighborhoods in Miami. So we saw that growing up. So having a family-owned business wasn't a foreign concept, but it can be for a lot of people. So we want to really kind of provide support. So the book is much more about providing information and then also empowering you. It's not a memoir. It's not about learning our story and seeing how you do it. No, it's learning lessons that we went through and how you can apply them to now create your own family-owned business.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm. Can you hurry up and put it out because I want to do some. Me and my brother, my younger brother, we both do business and we overlap. But
Nice.
it has been. What's been the biggest struggle? No, what's been the biggest struggle, and
Uh-huh.
then what's been the biggest like assurance, like the most positive, but also the biggest struggle of doing
Yeah.
business with your sisters.
So I would say let's start with the positive. So the positive is that while we kind of overlap like you, like each of us have a background like advertising or marketing, right? So very kind of creative backgrounds. But then we also have specialties. So one of the things that we did early on was to divide and roles of responsibilities. So then that way you're not stepping on each other's toes. You have this lane, that's your lane. I'm not trying to interfere on it. We could support you, but that's your thing. So that helps to create and minimize on any sort of like conflict that can arise, right? So how can you really be clear? Because one of the things that happens with family is that you know each other in a very intimate way
Mm-hmm.
that you don't necessarily know with a coworker, right? Somebody off the street that you just start to work with, you don't know them the same way that you know your brother or your sister. So you really have to put in those guardrails to protect the relationship while also making sure that you can work together efficiently. The challenge can be that one of the things that was a challenge for us is that we were in very different stages of our career. So when we launched the brand, I'm the oldest one. So I was already very much well established. I was already doing like freelance work. I had been in the corporate space for about 13, 15 years at the time. And then at
Mm-hmm.
that time, I stepped out and I was like, okay, I'm doing freelance work. So I was already in that kind of like entrepreneurial mode. My other sisters, one of them was like just about to graduate from college. And then my middle sister, she was out doing her thing too, but she was kind of like going between different roles, finding different things. So we were at very different stages. So that kind of caused some friction because for me, it felt like I was wearing a lot of the brunt of it to get it going and then trying to
Mm.
like bring them along with it. But again, it was because I had a ton of experience. My background's project management. I can do teams. I know how to flex and move up and bring people together to execute on an idea. And they didn't necessarily have a lot of that experience. So a lot of it was like, but again, that's where the roles and responsibilities fit in. So it's like you like being in the background, you like doing detail. Supply chain and logistics is your thing. You're really great at Photoshop, you're self-taught in Illustrator. You can help with marketing and developing our assets in the beginning. So it was a lot of that, right? You have to identify the challenges, but then work through them to find the solutions.
And you're the oldest?
I'm the oldest, yeah.
I could tell you got older. I'm oldest too. You got oldest energy, but I'm curious, and that might
Yeah.
that interpersonal dynamic of being the oldest. Different people will look like, oh, there's the oldest. You're trying to tell us what to do. You're the bossy
Right.
one. Maybe some people fall in line and love that. Some people don't. Some people, younger brothers and sisters can buck up as we get, especially as we become adults. But there's still something. Even I see it amongst my dads. My mom is the oldest of 11.
Wow.
My dad is what, the fourth of 6,
Uh-huh.
all same mother, father. And as they're now in their 70s, you still see pieces of when they all get together of how they defer to Mom Janetta, who's the old. Mind you, these are all these people, and that the youngest is in their late 60s. But there's different things that you notice that my dad's older brother was just here, and you start to see that. And I could say, oh, if this had to translate to business, how are you putting, like, make sure you're elevating the respect level you have for
Right.
them, treating them, but having a level of trust, knowing that certain things that you normally could have said in a business context can have so many personal implications, or they're carrying something that has nothing to do with the
Nothing to
work
do with
into
it. Yeah.
into the office. And you could as well, you could be projecting that note. There's so many
Yeah.
little nuances. How did you start to navigate that to have a successful and growing business? Because that in and of itself
Yeah.
takes so much energy, takes so much of your soul, so much of your time, so much of your
It does.
sleep.
It
Like-
does. And it's not always easy. And then we get into that in the book, right? We talk about different strategies and ways in which we managed it, because a lot of it comes down to communication and also differentiating, right? So you have to get honest about your relationship, and you have to be honest with your feelings. So if you mad because of something else and not about what we're talking about in business, you need to be clear with that, right? So you can't bring your baggage in the business because you don't do it at work, right? So yeah, you may have a little tiff with your coworker, but for the most part,
Yeah.
you can like separate work when you're at work from like personal stuff. So you have to take that same approach. So we also talk about in the book, like conversations and how we try to like put boundaries on when we're talking about business. Like if we're at my mom's house on Sunday, our parents' house on Sunday, like how do we maintain this is like family time and we don't like turn into a business meeting? So you have to set those parameters. So you because it's easy to just
Everywhere
start
becomes a
spilling it over.
business. Everywhere becomes a
Right.
business meeting.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a lot of it's communication. You also have to heal a little bit. But we talk a lot about too how you can do some of those things and how you can move through them and navigate through it. We talk about some of the things that we ran into where we had some differing opinions and how we kind of defaulted and we worked through it. But at the essence of it, it comes down to honest communication, having boundaries and roles and responsibilities. Like if you have a good foundation, you can navigate those things. And you know, if you want to do a family-owned business and there's a lot of tension, maybe heal some of the tension first and then work on the business.
Because the
And then develop the
business brings out tension among strangers,
right.
amongst any. If you're doing it, especially when you're starting a business, where even if you're acquiring a business, like it's so much time and focus that it can wear down your nerves, wear down your spirit. You literally you probably are sleeping less than normal. You're working with new people, whether they're in the business or your suppliers and so forth, figuring out your constant figuring out, learning from mistakes, trying not to apply them, hamster wheel of a problem.
Right.
And all that just wears you down as a human. Insert you my little sister, and you stole my Barbies 18 years ago that I you don't realize I still remember.
Right. And you bringing that animosity to this meeting.
You bringing it. It's not a lot, but it's that little nugget that when I'm already worn down through the business and you say something, I tap right into that. And when you stole,
right. And remember, you told mommy I did this and I did this.
Exactly.
Right.
You told daddy I did that. That's real.
It's real.
That's not even like
real.
I'm joking about saying that, but I don't know if is one of the tips therapy, like some kind of structured or professional, whether it's therapy or real business advice. Like I'm curious, like as you formulate it, you tick through how you identified the things that you thought they were best. I don't know if that comes from just both your experience, but also being the oldest in a situation. You're probably, if like me, I was assessing what I felt in the moment about my brother and sister. It was one of the decision points of why I chose Howard University to go to school. Because they were like, I had some scholarship, I had full rides to a few places. In my 17-year-old brain, was like looking at my brother and sister 7 years after me, seeing where their grades are, is like, my sister works really hard. She works harder than me. She still does decent, but she's not going to get a full ride more than likely. She might get scholarship, but not a full ride where I got 7-8 schools. Let me do that and save my parents some money because we small income, single car house. Like you're assessing the things they're good. And my brother, he's far off, but I can see he's way more creative and he's going into the arts already. There's not a lot of money. And mind you, I'm 17, but I'm thinking as an adult, you're assessing in real time. Fast forward now, you probably watched your sister's careers, plus knowing their personality types. And you're like, well, I'm a CEO of this situation and put you here. But all that in a business sense, people can often get consulting or get therapy or business coaching, some kind of external building. So we're all coming to these decisions from at least some of the same places because we've had an outside view of it. Is that any of the advice you got, or is that something you did or something you are thinking about exploring? Like some kind of outside, either consulting, therapy, something like that helps the dynamic.
Yeah. So we didn't necessarily do like therapy per se because we didn't have a ton of like baggage coming to it. So we have a good relationship, right? So we weren't starting from a broken place as sisters. So I think that that's also key, which is why I said, if you have a broken relationship, but you are interested in exploring it, heal some of that first and then develop the business, because now the business can become a focal point and you can work on it effectively without bringing the things in. But we actually have a framework in the book that we talk about that goes into exactly that, right? it's like a SWOT, but you're talking about sort of what your strengths and weaknesses are, what your desires are, and then where your interests lie. Because sometimes just because you're good at something, you may want to grow in something else. So how can we sort of put you in a position within the company that allows you to tap into your strengths while also allowing you to explore new interests? Because at the end of the day, especially when you're starting out, you're bootstrapping, you're small, you're lean. So everyone has to wear a variety of different hats. So yes, there's different frameworks that we talk about that specifically go into that, right? How can you, because that's a good thing too about siblings is that you know each other really well. And because you know each other really well, you can also sort of allow like decisions to be made without feeling like I don't exactly know where this person may go. And there's a lot of trust there because, for instance, when it comes to designing or doing social media, my sister Latasha has full reign of it over it for the most part because we think alike. I know her tone, her approach, and so I'm not really fully concerned on it. She can own it, and it's totally fine, right? And I think that that's some of the things that is a benefit of knowing each other as family. And it doesn't have to be blood family. It could be a friend who you're like, this is my sister. This is my play sister. Same situation. You're coming to to a opportunity where you are bringing emotional relationships, and it's not a new coworker. So that aspect of knowing each other's strengths, weaknesses, you can play off that and you can really create a dynamic that works together as long as you keep it organized. And that's also too when you talk about the fundamentals of a business, having those articles of organization or of incorporation and being clear in the beginning on the foundation and how the business is going to be built.
Interesting. When's the book come out, or is it out already?
So we're doing final edits right now. And that's one of the things that I wanted to kind of, talk on the show about was to really kind of gain interest and get some feedback, possibly from the audience in terms of like, for those who are interested in doing family owned business, what are you maybe looking to glean, right? We have our manuscript. We have it under peer review right now with some friends just to get some initial feedback. But we want to make sure that we're addressing concerns, questions, anything that someone else may have that we can now begin to like put into the final touches of the book. And so I really appreciate this conversation because you actually asked questions that directly hit on things that we cover in the book. So this was exactly what I was looking for.
Is it a story, workbook, autobiography? Like how is it framed? Like,
it's more of a working book. It's a working book. There's going to be prompts. There's going to be journal opportunities. There's going to be frameworks. It's going to come with downloads. It is really, we're leveraging our story as a basis for now you to go out and do it yourself. It's not about like a memoir that's all flowery and narrative. No, this is something we want to keep it nice and tight, give you a playbook that you can now leverage to go and create and start your own. Because again, just looking at how AI is transforming the career path, we have to think differently. We can't just think that you're going to start off at an entry level job and work your way up the ladder. The ladder may not exist in 2 years just because of the rate of AI. So we have to think differently. And I think family owned business, depending on what it is, it can provide some of that foundation that can help us to move forward, especially as people of color, right? When we think about just the digital divide, the wealth gap, all the things, it's going to look very different really, really soon.
It is. And I think, the wealth gap is already exacerbated to historic levels. What we see in the greater economy, and to your point of not just AI adaptation, investment, concentration of money into certain places are all going to make it harder for people who initially had those little baby step to ladder steps.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even ladder. You had to walk up a couple steps to get to the ladder, then start climbing the ladder.
Right.
Family-owned businesses, though, the right family-owned business also matters. The right business for you all. How did you determine this was the right business for you? And do you talk about that in the book? Because passions, I'm a firm believer, you don't need to necessarily go with what your passion is. Yeah. You should be doing what you're good at. Hopefully what you're passionate and good at, but people are good at a lot of things that they're not passionate about. Right. But I always say, first get your money doing something you are good at or can be good at that has value, then you're in a blessed place if you can do it both passion and value, and passion and good at and proficiency like early. But
Yeah.
how did you figure out what business you all were at? Was it a passion focus or was it a good at an opportunity focus?
No, it was totally a consumer trying to solve a problem. Opportunity focus. It was literally just we having natural hair. Detangling was always something that we struggled with. And when you talk about that time in the marketplace, there weren't a lot of solutions. Yes, you had bigger brands starting to be available in mass retail. But at the end of the day, the detangling and some of the wash care moments were still very hard. And so an idea kind of came and it was like, let's try it out. So basically what we did is that we designed the teeth on our hair tools to basically mimic the shape of your finger. So when you look at our hair tools, they're really thick, they're sturdy, and they comb through the hair differently than other tools on the market. So it came from a consumer frustration point and also just trying to solve something for ourselves. And we went through using 3D printing to prototype it out, testing it out, all the things. So we talk about sort of that journey and how we got to the business. But there were other things that I've done in the past, right? Things that I was like testing with and did kind of pull back on it. And we talk about some of that, the journey through it. And then what also added to it is that my middle sister, Latasha, her background is in finance and marketing, graduated from Florida State. But then she also got her license in cosmetology. So she's also bringing an aspect of hair care to it because she's good with her hands. She likes to braid, she likes to do hair. So that conversation, and with me having the background on production, project management, taking something from concept to ideation, through ideation, launch, QA, back again, I did it on the digital tech side, but I applied the same framework to developing a full, like an actual tangible product. So it pulled on a lot of our different strengths and interests, which is how this is the one that ended up continuing to move forward and becoming something that we're now taking to other countries around the world.
That's dope. That's dope. Well, make sure you let people know how to. Is it up for pre-order yet?
Not yet, because we're wanting to like.
No, yeah. I know you said
and
peer
all the
review and
things.
still.
Yeah.
So tweak it. No pressure. Make sure it comes out. That's my biggest thing to
Absolutely. No,
every
we're
entrepreneur.
pushing
You
it.
got to make sure you got to put it out.
Yeah.
You got
So
to put
if
it out.
anybody has any feedback, if you want to get on like our pre-order list,
How
anything
can they
like
do
that,
that?
yes,
How can
please
they
email me.
contact you?
You can email us at builttogetherbook@gmail.com.
Builttogetherbook@gmail.com.
Yep.
Well,
And we're fielding questions, all the things. Let us know.
Well, Latoya, it was a pleasure having you on. I love Miami. I'll make
Thank
sure.
you for having
Are you guys gonna have you don't have a storefront, do you?
No, we don't have a storefront.com. So the products can be bought on our website, cosmology.com. We're also on Amazon. You can buy us on Target.com. We're in Walmart. We're in CVS. And if you are a salon professional, you can buy us on saloncentric.com where you get a discount because you're a pro.
Man, that I'm not trying to shift you all out, but you haven't thought about maybe leveraging what you all do to get some capital, buy out a salon or physical space, just and create like a cosmology curated experience. Does that come? Is that in the pipeline at
That's
some
definitely
point?
something that we've explored for sure. If you listen,
I know it's different business to run it full time, but when I think about this, I mean, as a marketer myself, like this, when I saw the title of how you spell your company when she put it in the Chiron, I was like, oh, this feels like an experience. Like I'm going to cosmology.
Come on.
And like it's a little spa, your products, you can sell stuff. You don't have to expand and make it everywhere, but it's like we're online and that's where we are, but boutique places that you get the cosmology full immersive experience. And you put it in an international city like a Miami, like a DC, like a LA, like a Chicago, like you put it in a couple places overseas, you put the cosmology experience. So it's like when I go there, I know I'm getting this because I'm already a fan of their detangling products, their hair products, their tools. Like, where can I go experience this in real life? Because it's still something people are doing. Hair is intimate.
Exactly.
And it's almost like an essential to so many people. Like it's right there next to food. In terms of how much money I'm like the financial priority in every household of every income level. hair
Yeah.
is high.
Hair is
So,
hot. It
so
is. It is. No, but I
I
thank you so much, Calvin. This has been a fantastic conversation, and I'm
appreciate it.
glad, especially knowing that you're an older brother and all the
I feel
things.
that I
Right.
need your book to come out so I can continue to work through, because me and my brother, I want to be more helpful, because it's not even I want him in my business. I want to be in business with him in a
Love
real
that.
way. But the brother thing is like, we both still regular brothers. It's like I don't want anything to interrupt that energy.
Yeah.
I just want to be him to be my brother and me to be him, and that
Yeah.
love to extend till we die. Because
Right.
you've seen it go wrong.
It can go wrong. It can go
It
wrong.
can go very wrong.
It could go very wrong.
It can go very wrong. So I'm glad to see folks out here, sisters like yourselves, being able to do something tapped in. Make sure people and all the listeners tap into cosmology. We're going to be
Yes.
looking for Built Together, builttogetherbook.com to learn more. Sign up to get ready on the pre-order list. And LaToya, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so
Amazing.
much
Thank
for
you,
joining
Calvin.
me.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. That was cool. That was a good how do you feel doing business with your brother? I helped my brother. My brother is managing our family trust. He was the one who really pushed for that almost he graduated 16 years ago now. And in our first family meeting that Christmas, he was like, we need to put the trust, put a couple $100 away. He got it as low as like we were giving $150 a month each of us to build up some money. He put that into the market. Stock market, was able to grow that a little bit, be able to buy our first property, buy land. Now he's looking to acquire 5 more acres and develop tiny homes for rental and tiny home community on this land outside of LA in Apple Valley. He already has 8 acres and a beautiful vacation rental and studio space out there that people rent throughout the summer, rent for location shoots, rent for getaways, and he wants to continue to expand on that. And it's like, oh, I know tons of people who need that as a service, want cool places near major cities, but unique experiences. But people also can invest in it and build out his first little apartment, 2-floor apartment building while he's out there. That's his next land play. I want to be in the business, but it's like, I know I act a little different to my family in a good way than I do in business in a more focused way. And I want to make sure that doesn't ruin the relationship. Kiara, I want to see, I'm sorry for saying your name wrong. For our producer, I want to see if I can try something a little different really quick. I want to see if you can showcase on screen. I'm putting it in our chat. I want to finish off talking about this Africa Real Estate Festival. The Africa Real Estate Festival that I'm going to be speaking at and attending April 18th. We're going to announce, you're getting a preview here. Hude Collective is announcing a partnership with the Africa Real Estate Festival, Hude and Hude Strategies, as one of their partners. I'm going to be, and then also I'm going to be doing some hip politics work out there as well, getting involved in some international political fundraising and political marketing. Going to be talking to, not saying who yet, but just going to be talking to a few different politicians and candidates out there in Ghana, and really just tapping in and really learning the landscape. I think my number one thing there is to go to build relationship. Definitely going to be doing content, and it being my first time, but my primary focus is build relationship, provide value. Build relationship and provide value, because it's a place I want to go back to several times over. I don't know if you can you show that website? I don't know if you can click on it and show it in a screen. If not, that's okay. If not, it's okay. All right. But I'm just excited about it. So if you do want to come, there's still a few weeks left. Prices are not that high, but if you're thinking about, I get it. No worries. Check out AfricaRealEstateFestival.com. Like I said, I'm previewing it to you guys here. I'm going to be putting out and talking about it all week on my socials. But really excited about this. Really excited about the opportunity to do international business. And as people are looking, especially people often come to us for like business advice and so forth, tap into Africa. Tap into Africa as a continent. They're the youngest continent. They're youngest continent in the world. So that means there's nothing but people growth potential. So you can get brand loyalty, really tap into people early and grow with them as customers, grow with them as service providers. There's so much hunger there for international collaboration. I really focused on wanting to be there during my time. It was always a goal I had of mine. But when I worked at the Smithsonian African American Museum, and really that was one of my first times in my adult life really tapping into the African diaspora, being their public affairs director and the international conversations we're having as we talk about the African American experience, but specifically how that relates to Africa and all the people there. And then fast forward to a time in the White House when President Biden held the first African summit, where so many different leaders from leaders, business, philanthropy, development, education, healthcare, all these different industries and leaders from various African countries came to the White House, and we're in DC for over a week, building relationships, building policy, building partnerships, building through lines there, because we know how much that means. So I'm ashamed. This is my first time ever touching the continent. Definitely touching Ghana. I plan to be there a lot, but I'm excited, and I didn't realize how big it was until I had to make a private video to send to the people at the festival, because I'm doing something for their VIPs. Their VIPs, it is a training session on digital engagement, and so I made some of the collateral and sent it over, and that's when it just clicked on. I was like, this is huge, and I want to share it with people, but more so even for me as a man, as a human, as a Black man, as an African American who's still so proud of my culture, to go tap into something bigger. And so I'm excited, but time is up. Time is up, my friends. This is Mr. Cameron Calvin. Thank you for everybody in the chat who's showing love. Shout out to Tiffany. I know my 30-dayers, my 30-day crew. Maria's gonna be here. Shout out to Tiffany. And shout out to everybody who listened and tuned in again. Again, Omi is traveling. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll talk to Omi. I don't know if it's the 30-day show, so technically it should be tomorrow, but March does have 31 days, so maybe we do a bonus episode on day 31. Who knows? Look out. But it could very well end all tomorrow. But for everybody who joined us on the 30-day show, again, it's your boy, Mr. Cameron Calvin, founder of Hip Politics, managing partner at Huge Strategies, and soon to be international speaker. Well, I've already am an international speaker. Soon to be multi-international. I don't know what the word is. Multinational, but soon to be Ghanaian international speaker, Cameron Calvin Trimble. Thank you. So shout out to everybody who's here. And as it always goes, at the end of the show go end. And with that, we are out. Peace. You can end the show now.